Alright guys, welcome to a new deck profile. Um, yes, I'm sorry that it's been a while since I've uploaded. I'm having some technical difficulties with some of the software I'm running. And I apologize for that, but we're going to go ahead and get into these new videos. And hopefully here soon you guys are going to kind of see a little bit of difference in how the videos are made, as well as just difference of quality. Hopefully it goes up from here, and you guys keep leaving those likes, comments, subscribes, and turning those notifications on. So like I said, today we're doing a new deck profile. It's going to be over Android 21. At least that's what the leader card's going to be. Now, mind you, this is not going to be the original Android 21, mainly because of said set 10 dropped. The Android 21 Bad Omen has been obviously banned, as well as Gogeta. Now, I built this before the bans, so it was already kind of dealing with it already didn't have to worry about that. But ultimately, this is just kind of an interesting deck profile I thought about, or I didn't really think about. Just, it's an interesting deck profile I've seen. I've tweaked it a little bit to my liking because I don't like one single run. So it's a little more interesting in my books, as well as the simple fact that it just has more. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start with Android 21 leader card. Android 21 is her first auto is when you put her in your leader card, you're going to put Android's 21 scheme. This is the field card. This field card, if you haven't seen it before, or if you're new to the Dragon Ball scene, what this field card does is ultimately on your opponent's main phase, it gives your opponent 2 clone tokens. These clone tokens are different than the first original tokens because they cannot combo. So they don't have a combo power. They're just 10k clone tokens ready to go. Her other auto is there's two autos ultimately that you really have to worry about. The first one is if you play it, you as the controller of Android's 21 scheme, when you play a black card, it goes into your drop area. So ultimately, unless you're trying to warp things in here, you really can't use black in it because it's just going to go straight to the drop area unless you're doing something out of the drop, which I know Vegeta does quite a bit. That's fine, but Vegeta also does it from the deck, not from playing. So this is when it goes to the drop area, and ultimately this will automatically win because its auto will resolve every time it hits the board as long as it's a black card. So really, it's just going to make it so you can't play black. No big deal. Now, the first main auto, which is the once per turn, is the one you have to worry about the most, which is basically for you and your opponent. Every time you play your first non-token battle card, that card cannot attack. Alright, so basically it's going to give it Summoning Sickness from Dragon Ball Super, or from Magic the Gathering. It's going to give it Summoning Sickness. So ultimately that's really what you have to worry about. This deck goes around that, and that's Android's 21 scheme. That's what Android 21's leader card will pull out. Now, Android's 21, her activate main, once per turn, you can choose a clone token that your opponent has on the battlefield, which is what you're giving them from Android's 21 scheme. You draw a card, then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 1 or less, and you return it to their hand. So, very nice, easy, quick board control early game. Late game, the board control is not really there, but it has draw power, so ultimately it still helps. Her Awaken 4 or less, draw 2. Now we're on the Awaken side. The Awaken side is, again, once per turn, activate main, choose a clone token, you're going to destroy it, you're going to draw a card, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 1 or less and return it to the hand. And then you choose up to 1 blue or green multicolored energy and you switch it to active mode. Alright, so this adds the energy untap, which is key in a lot of blue decks or blue-green decks. So if anybody plays Surge Piccolo, Son Gohan, the original Android 21s, Dr. Euro, all of these are pretty much blue-green decks. So this is going to be helpful because it's going to untap that blue-green. So that's the leader card. That's what we're going with today. We've went into the field card. That's going to come out automatic before the game even starts. Let's get into the rest of the deck profile. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a 60 card deck profile. the field card does count obviously towards the deck profile. So there's 59 other cards we're going into right here. So we're going to start just like we do all the time. Let's go into the counters. So for this deck, 4-Dimension Magic, I run a one of Shining Blaster and 2 Dream for the Future. Now, ultimately, Dimension Magic's your biggest, negate. It's going to untap 2 blue, and you're going to be able to play it with Sparkling 5, so you can take a life. As long as you have 5 cards in your drop area, you can play this for free, and you take a life, and then you still untap your energy, so that opens that up. The Dream for the Future and Shining Blaster's extra effects, other than the negate, really don't take effect because they require Bardock's Crew Leader card or a Universe 9 Leader card, both of which Android 21 is not. So ultimately, these are just extra counters. I like playing counters in my decks. If you've seen any of my other deck profiles, that's what I love to do. I like to make sure that I can defend myself as well as control how much people are really attacking. You can run Whis' Coercion in place of these 3, no problem. If that's what you want, it's easy to go ahead and run. It's a very good alternate to these. These are just the ones I've put in right now. But ultimately, Whis' Coercion probably be the better option. Or even like You're Wide Open, anything of the above. If you're just thinking of a better blue counter, by all means run it, because it probably is going to be a little bit better than you think. So that's what you would run. Definitely, though, run 4-Dimension Magic. Now, I do have 3 counter plays, which is the Absolute Release Ball. Now, for me personally, counter plays right now, the monocolors are kind of 50-50 of when they're going to be good, when they're not going to be good. This is good early game. If your leader card is blue and your life is 4 or less, battle card being played, a cost of 3 or less, is returned to its owner's hand. And then you choose up to 1 of your blue energy and switch it to active mode. So, when you're at 4 or less life, which you can do pretty quick, 3 or less energy you're countering, it's really nice. This also has a permanent, though, that if you have multicolored in your energy and your life is 4 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding a card from your life to your hand. So ultimately, if you have multicolored energy and you're 4 or less life, you can go ahead and activate Absolute Release Ball like you would counter plays or counter attacks such as Dimension Magic. So it works really well. And again, like I said, I'm kind of 50-50 on these, but at the same time I'm not, because they're still very good, something that really is useful in the deck. Alright, next is going to be what every mono blue player is going to tell you is going to put in there. Sensu Banes. Everyone knows what it is. Activate Battle. Give that card plus 5k, untap 2 energy. I run 2 of right now. You can change that however you like, but I run a 2 of because that's just how this deck runs. Now I'm going to go into the defense of this deck, which is the Madness Wand Dr. Kochin, 4 of, 2 Son Goku, Spirit of the Planet, and 1 Dr. Euro Cybernetic Rebirth. These guys are all blockers these guys are blockers with Revive. This guy's early game, I can hit you really big, triple strike, 25,000, and it has Revive as well. And then Dr. Euro is basically going to be able to be played when you use it for revival. So if you have Madness Dr. Kochin, you block with it, you revive, you throw this out, this gets played, and now you have 2 blockers ready to go. So blockers, early game, you just want to hit them really hard. Very helpful. The support for this deck is pretty simple. Android 17, Protector of the Wildlife. That's your energy right there. There's your blue-green. I really don't know anybody that runs this for anything but the energy. Mainly because it ignores energy exhaust. So, there's your energy. Super combos are going to be Android 18, Bionic Blitz. This is the one that when you combo with it, you get to choose a card from their hand and place it at the bottom of their deck. Hand control, very useful. Now, I'm going to tell you this next card has saved me in game a lot. Android 21, a brilliant idea. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a very good card. It's also very much a control state. Now, auto is when you play this card, activate this skill at the end of your opponent's next turn. You play 2 clone tokens. So, say you play this card, the opponent goes, at the end of their turn, they get 2 more clone tokens on top of Android 21's scheme. So they're going to get 4 tokens. Alright. Now, her activate main is once per turn, you get to choose a clone token in your opponent's battlefield, remove from the game, and you get to choose one. You can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, or you can choose your opponent's leader card or one of the battle cards, or choose your leader card or one of your battle cards. It'll get plus 10,000 power and critical. This has saved me enough times that it's helpful because of that first activate main of I get to KO anything. Other than obviously things that have barrier. But if it doesn't have barrier, it's a target for Android 21. All I gotta do is pop a clone, and there you go. I have now sufficiently dealt with whatever is on your board that is hurtful. That card is very useful in this deck. Alright, next is going to be the first card that you want to play in the run of this deck. Now, this run ultimately is getting to Ultra Instinct Son Goku. This is going to be the first card you play, or I shouldn't say the first card. It's going to be one of the cards you can play using your clones, because ultimately you can take 2 clone tokens and play this guy. Alright, now I liked the Maleficent Technique Frieza, because this is when you play this card, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 3 or less and return it to their owner's hand. Alright, so that board control is very nice. I can play it using 2 of my tokens. Now, the reason this is in here because you don't want your Ultra Instinct to be the first guy out on the board. So as long as it's not the first one out on the board, you can go into the rest of this deck run, which gets to Ultra Instinct, and you can still swing. This guy may not be able to swing, but that's fine. He has a 1 play ability. I'm not worried about him swinging on that turn because of Android 21 scheme. So that's usually going to be the first card I play in this run, which consists of... So this run will go from either the Son Goku, Son Gohan, Saiyan of Earth, which has a rival, and then you'll EX evolve into Ultra Instinct from him. So 2 drop, you play him. 2 more, you'll evolve. Alright? Now, there's another way to do this run. Same exact energy cost. Not the same colors, same energy cost though. Alright, because it's really just going to cost you 2 blue to do the other run, which is you rival your Supreme Technique Son Goku, and then from there you activate main for 1, and you go ahead and throw out Son Goku Path to the Infinite, pop this back to hand, and then this gets played, then you EX evolve for 2. Alright, so this is going to be 2 separate runs that you're going to ultimately do to get to that Ultra Instinct. That Ultra Instinct is your hitter. Now, mind you, you can hit still with Son Goku, Supreme Technique, or Path at any point in time. Because if you've done this right and you played this first, because you only needed 2 tokens, so you haven't used any energy yet, mind you. So this is basically free. I haven't used a single energy yet. I can then play this, choose one of my opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less, place it in my opponent's energy in rest mode. Then your opponent chooses a card in their hand and they place it in their drop area. That happens. I can swing. Or not. It doesn't really matter. And then I can EX evolve into Ultra Instinct, which then has Triple Strike, has a permanent that your opponent can't combo for the duration of this card's battle, and has an auto is when this card evolves in this card, return all your opponent's battle cards to their owner's hand. So I'm not targeting anything. That's a board stasis. That will get around barrier because it's a board effect. It's not a specific card. I do not target your card. I target your board. Alright, so that'll get around any barrier, and it'll board wipe them, essentially. And then you can swing with that. Or you can go to the arrival side over here, which is arrivaling Supreme Technique Son Goku, tapping 1, swapping these 2 out, and then EX evolving to the same run. Just takes 1 extra card. The reason I do this is because I want to make sure I get to right here. One way or another, I'm getting there. And that's ultimately why I ran. So the original deck profile had just these guys to Ultra Instinct, is what I've seen. I liked this run here because it ultimately gave me another dimension to the deck, as well as the simple fact that this deck is already can go to 60 cards. Why not put 8 in there? And then the other 2 will be those 2 the one of that you can see of, maybe the Dream to the Future or that extra counter. Either way, you have the space in the deck now that you can run these, and you'll ultimately get to where you need to go. And that is my Android 21. As you see, it's probably not the same as what you've seen because of Bad Omen's not in here. But ultimately, I think this is a very good deck. It's very useful. It's very just defensive. But at the same time, it can hit quick and hard and fast. I mean, ultimately, turn 2 or turn 3 even, turn 2 or 3, if you awaken, you can get your Ultra Instinct out. If I remember correctly, I think the earliest that Ultra Instinct was popping was turn 3. So, I mean, it's not hard. It's a great run. It's easy to do. And it's really just not a hard deck to run because it's just going to Ultra Instinct. Everything else is defense. Everything else is just getting you ready. And that's going to be it, guys. That is Android 21. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to see something different, or if you have anything about this deck, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Let's be safe out there. Thank you.